Hey everybody, Milton Davis is here. It's March, and I'm just here to kind of give you guys a catch up on what's been going on, what we've been doing, what we will be doing, and stuff like that. February was a pretty good month. We got some really good things done. We actually participated in a Black Fantastic book bundle, which was very successful. Thank y'all for supporting it. We sold a lot of copies of The Long Walk, which is a great book, and I'm glad it is getting in the hands of people that they can take a look at and read it as well. But I wrote me a list because if I sit up here and talk myself all day, we'll end up being here for hours, and I only want to take 10 minutes of your time. But it's Saturday, everybody's getting having a good time. So, what's going on? Refer to my list. See how to get up. So, the first thing I like to talk about is our Brothers Read Brothers Read Speculative Fiction event that we did. It was a great event. Clarence got in contact with me a few weeks ago and said, "Hey man, I want to read," and I said, "Cool, let's do it." So we got together with some friends, some people that some of you guys know. It was me, Clarence, Maurice Broaddus, Rob Cameron, Eric Nunley, and Gerald L. Coleman got together. We all read excerpts from our books, and it was really great. We had a great turnout. They were at the maximum. We had like 90 people there. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. Afterwards, when everything was over, and we were kind of like sitting around talking and chatting and stuff like that, about at least half of the people remained just to listen to that, because we were having a good time. So yeah, it was great. There has been some suggestions that we should do it live. That remains to be seen, but I can tell you that we will be showing it on YouTube. We're in the process of we recorded it. We're in the process of sprucing that up a little bit, and it will be available on YouTube in April. So those of you who didn't get a chance to see it live will be able to see the recording and see what all the fuss is all about. Next up is look at my list here. Oh yeah, have to talk about this. I've had the opportunity. I've had the opportunity to work with some great people, and this is another one of those things. Um, I'm just going to show the book to you so you guys can see it. You've already seen it already. Um, Here it is, Languages of Water. This is actually a short story collection edited by Eugene Bacon. And if you're into science fiction and fantasy and you haven't heard of Eugene Bacon, you will soon. Eugene is an amazing author. She has a unique style, which is just blows me away. And this is a project that she actually got together with a couple of writers around the world, actually, to write about languages of water. And had also had the finally had the opportunity to work with John Jennings to do some cover art for me, and he blew it out of the park. And this collection is amazing as well. Now it's available for pre-order now. It's going to be released on September the 1st of this year, but you can pre-order the book early, so make sure you have your copy there, and you won't be disappointed. It's a lovely book, inside and outside. Let me see here if I can find it here. There are illustrations in there. There are actually stories that are presented in multiple languages. So it's a feast for everything, for everybody, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay, let's see what's next on the list here. Let's talk about my Kickstarters. Okay, got a lot to talk about on that there. The Playing the Odds Kickstarter. I know some of you are still waiting for your rewards. We've sent out the physical and digital rewards. If you participated in this and pledged to this, please check for your surveys because some of y'all hadn't responded yet. So until you respond, we can't get your rewards to you. We are still working on the animation. We've had some technical difficulties. I mentioned it before, and we're still working those out. But we should have this animation to you soon. And when you see it, you're going to be blown away. I know you've seen some of the excerpt that we posted on there, and Mark is doing an amazing job. And when you see everything put together, our original soundtrack, the sound which is done by Paula Gammon, and Paula is amazing working in sound. She's actually working on the Ayanu animation that's going to be on HBO this year. So we got a crack team of people together, and I think you'll see that once we get the animation to you and stuff. Speaking of soundtrack, you know how we do things, and we don't do them halfway. And that's why we want to talk about the soundtrack to Playing the Odds. We have an original soundtrack that was written by Otis Galloway, and we were bringing our own flavor to cyberpunk. So we brought our own music too. You don't get what you normally standard here. You get what we produce. You get funk. And I think you'll enjoy it. Matter of fact, Otis has a link to he's actually offering the soundtrack now that you can actually check out on Spotify, and there's a link that has excerpts from each of the songs, so you can get a feel for for the kind of flavor we got for playing the odds. I will actually post this link up to the comments after I'm done, so you can check it out and go check out the excerpts from the songs. I believe one of the sound streaming networks made it available as of yesterday, actually, and it should be coming online soon with some of the other ones. So please check it out. I mean, it's some great music. Otis is a master. If you remember, he also did a soundtrack for our anthology, The City, which you can find online as well. And he doesn't disappoint on this one as well. And if you also, let's talk about Angola Diaspora too. You know, Angola Diaspora is our African martial arts series, and we dropped issue 1 a couple of years ago. We did a Kickstarter, a successful Kickstarter for issue 2 last year, and we're working on our way to completing that one. Just got a few more pages from Peter Daniel and Peta Studio, and the pages are looking good, and I think you're going to really be excited about it. I mean, nobody's ever done an African martial arts comic book before. This is an idea we came up with years ago, and I had the opportunity to work with Balogun Ojitade, who is an African martial artist, and all of us coming together on this project, being to work with Peta Studios, which is out of Nigeria. It has produced something that is unique and one of a kind, and I know you're going to enjoy it. You've enjoyed the first comic. You can enjoy the second comic. If you haven't read the first comic, you can actually go and check it out and order some copies of it before we let out the second copy. But yeah, it's coming. It's looking great, and you're going to be excited about it. Another series that I'm working on in collaboration with 133 Art and Jason Reeves is the Changa Safari series. Now, if you know my Changa Safari novels, my books that are like 4 books in the series, and we recently started developing it into a comic book series. We did Changa Safari 1, Changa and the Jade Obelisk 1, Changa and the Jade Obelisk 2. So we're about to start working on Changa and the Jade Obelisk 3. We haven't made the official announcement yet, but it's coming. And of course, it's going to be hot. We got some nice artwork coming along with it. We got another surprise coming along with this one too that I'm not going to mention right now. But when you see it, you're going to like it. You're going to say, hey, these brothers are doing some real stuff, and I need to be involved in it because it's great, and I'm looking forward to that. Now, here's one that I haven't talked about a lot, but it is coming. I've been working with Marcus Roberts over the past few months of adapting one of my horror stories, Better Listen, into a comic book. And we have decided that we are going to run a Kickstarter for that as well. It looks like it's going to be 60 pages. And it's a story about a recently widowed father and his daughter who are moving into a new house. But this house has secrets. And I'm really happy to be working with Marcus because, I'm like horror light, and Marcus is taking this story to the next level. I mean, really taking it to the next level. And I love what he's doing. We're collaborating on this amazingly. We're going to do it. It's going to drop through Second Sight. So, Second Sight has been killing the game when it comes to horror comics. So, hey, you check this one out. Be on the lookout for this one as well. I don't know exactly when we're going to drop it, but as soon as I do know, I will let you guys know. And then last but not least, when it comes to Kickstarters, is Space Funk. As you know, we decided to do the Space Funk Anthology, which is a collection of stories, of space stories by Black authors. People always say, nobody puts us Black people in space. I never had a problem with that because I knew we were going to do that, and that's what we're doing right now. And I can tell you, these are the most submissions I've ever received for an anthology, and there's some great stories in this. It's going to be very difficult to choose which ones to publish because, everybody's bringing the fire. And it just covers the whole range of what space stories are about. And true to the theme of our funk anthologies, there are stories there where the main characters happen to be Black, and there are stories there where the main characters have to be Black. And you're going to enjoy this just as much as you enjoyed the other the other funk anthologies, if not more. But we're also going to do a Kickstarter for this one as well. I've never done a Kickstarter for an anthology or for a novel, but I feel like for this particular project, it's something that would be necessary. Something that will. One of the reasons is because it's going to help us pay like industry standards per word for our stories, which is something that we've always strived to do. And also, I just think it's just a project that will do well, and I think people will be excited about it. I'm excited about it, and I think with the interest that we've received from it, I think it would be a very good way to get a lot of books in the hands of a lot of people at one time. And so that's the reason why we're going to go with this on the Space Funk anthology. I will probably announce when this is going to happen. I'm thinking it'll probably be fall, based on how long it's going to take me to read the stories. Like I said, I got over 40 stories. I'm like halfway through, and I've got a few more to go. So we'll see what happens once I get finished reading, and I look at the timeline from there. Um, Talking about my recent releases of books, as you know, I let out my first historical fiction novel, Black Rose, which was inspired by the artwork of Amber Denise, and I've been very pleased with it. I've been pleased with the response from it. But because of it being what it was, it came into my mind that it would be really cool to make a manga out of this. Because my kids grew up reading manga, and I know how much they loved it, and I like them as well. And so I decided to partner with Dedrin Sneed with Subsume, and I said, "Hey, Dedrin, we started talking about it, and he said, yeah, let's make it." So we started working on it. You've seen some of the artwork. You've seen some of the artwork, and it's great. But we just recently we just completed the first 10 pages of the manga, and at some point we're going to show it to you guys. And this is another one that we're looking at eventually doing into a Kickstarter, because again, we think it's a hot ideal. I love the way the story is being translated by the artists into artwork. I can't wait to see the rest of it. Can't wait to share it with you guys. Even so much so that I think, I could look at this and I could actually see this being an anime. I'm just going to drop that. I think it can happen. This is a really hot project. But I'll move on. But anyway, let's talk about another book that I just released recently, which is Muscadine Wine. Muscadine Wine is a personal project. It's something that's been kind of building for a while. I've written stories from this space over the years, and I just decided to sit down and bring them all together into one project. And these are stories that are based on me growing up in Southwest Georgia. I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia. Went to school in Fort Valley State College. Spent a lot of time in the Low Country in that area like that, and just all these influences just came together to end up in this story collection. And independent authors, it's hard for us to get reviews. It's kind of like squeezing water out of a rock, to get people. People will read my books all the time, say, "Hey man, I love your book," but dropping reviews is something that's rare. But recently, I've gotten some reviews from Muscadine Wine, and I've really been happy with them, because they kind of tell me that I'm doing what I want to. Conveying what I want to convey from this book. I'm going to read you some of these reviews. One of the first one I'm going to read you is by CSE Cooney. She's a World Fantasy Award-winning writer. She actually heard me read a excerpt from the book during our Black Men Reading Speculative Fiction from Miss Berry's Boy, and decided to pick the book up and read it. And this is what she says. She says, "It's unified. It feels both historic and heroic, like memoir mixed with tall tale, sometimes brutal, sometimes whimsical, plenty funny, always beautiful. But I wasn't kidding about tasting it. It's a full sensual work. My experience reading Ray Bradbury comes close, but this is its own thing." High praise for the book. I was actually I'm like, hey, again, you're getting across. I'm getting across the ideals and the feelings that I wanted to convey in this book. Anna Holloway, who was actually the person who began my journey into publishing science fiction and fantasy. She was my English instructor at Fort Valley State College, and she was the one that encouraged me to write science fiction and fantasy. She wrote a lengthy review on it where she goes into each story, discussing each story in detail. But what she says in consensus is Muscadine Wine by Milton Davis is not a long book, but it is very much worth reading. She was in the Fort Valley area, so I can see where some of the stories coming from that area would probably have some special meaning to her in that area and stuff. And I really appreciated her taking the time to read the book and express it. But this is the review that I felt like was the most sensitive to me, because this was a person who was coming to the genre for the first time. Her name is Stephanie, and she said, "I am a Southern African American woman who is a lifelong fan of fantasy and supernatural fiction. I'm only now discovering any literature written by African Americans, and this collection of short stories is one of the first I've ever read. The title alone suggested Southern fiction, which was the main appeal to me. I think of it as Southern fiction with a twist of legend slash folklore. There's a mix of historical and modern short stories, and in each one, the dialect comes through without being overdone. Any appearances of bigoted characters, including the Klan, are neither sugar-coated nor gratuitous. They are presented as a fact of life. Also, each story left me feeling a little uplifted, in the sense that the good guys triumphed and the bad guys got their comeuppance. It's not a heavy read. It can be read in one sitting. I thoroughly enjoyed it." See, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's what writers go for. And when we see words like that, it always resonates with us. So hey, this is also going to say that if you have a writer out there that you like, and you've read their books and you've enjoyed their books, leave a review, because it means a lot to us to know that the stories that we're telling are being enjoyed, and it also means a lot to us to let us know that sometimes that the message that we're trying to convey in our stories is coming across the way that we hoped it would be. Okay, so last but not least, and I've gone over 10 minutes, is what's coming up. So this month is just basically getting some things done, that kind of way, getting some stuff set up for next month. I got 2 events coming up next month. The first one is going to be on April 12th. It's going to be at Clark Atlanta University. It's the 50th Annual Creative Writing and Publication Workshop. I have the honor to be on a panel with Jessica Cage. If you don't know who Jessica Cage is, you should. She is an amazing author. She writes paranormal fantasy. And the 2 of us are going to be on a panel talking about basically self-publishing, how to publish your work, how to get it out there. And I think it's something that both of us have a lot of experience in. So you may learn something if you're in that circle and you're trying to learn how to publish and bring your books to fruition. So that's my first event for next month. Also on April 21st through April 23rd, I will be attending Jordan Con. I'll be there as a guest. I'll be there in the author's alley selling my books as well. If you've never been to Jordan Con, this is a good time to come check it out. It's actually a con built around the Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan series. Got a big boost last year because of the fact that the series came out online on streaming. So a lot of people came to check out what it's all about. But it's more than that. It's about the world of time, but it's also about fantasy fiction. It focuses on all those different aspects of it. So it's a great group of people. I enjoy the con, so come on out, check the group out, check me out, get some books, hang out, and get some ribbons too. You'll find out all about the ribbons once you get there. So that's about it. That's what I've got going on. That's what's been happening in March. A little preview of what's going to be happening in April. All the titles that I mentioned can be found on my site, www.MVmediaATL.com. I'm going to type this in real quick so you can get that out there. In addition, all of my books are available anywhere books are sold. If you want to take advantage of your Amazon Prime, you can do that. If you're a Barnes & Noble's fan, you can do that as well. But anywhere you want to find my books are there. If you don't see it, just ask people and they'll say, hey, just tell them that they're available through Ingram and they'll get there as well. So that's it. Hope y'all have a great Saturday. And again, we always thank you for your patience and your support. And let's have a great day. Take care. Peace.